Hello and welcome to Chabot News for February 27th, 2025. My name is Evan Netto and today we'll be covering job cuts, relief for victims of Kentucky flooding, and National Chocolate Covered Nut Day. In entertainment news, Lamont Lugin will tell you about Mindy Kaling making the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And finally, in sports news, Jasmine Bester has the latest updates about a snowmobiler who almost died in an avalanche. All that and more coming up in today's edition of Chabot News. Legendary Mexican singer-songwriter Paquita La Del Barrio has died. She died in her home in Veracruz, Mexico, according to a statement on social media. No cause of death was given. The singer's real name was Francisca Viveros Baradas. Her powerful lyrics were known for calling out men who acted badly in romantic relationships, and she recorded more than 30 albums over the course of her decades-long career. In 2021, she was recognized with a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Billboard Latin Music Awards. Paquita La Del Barrio was 77 years old when she died. Mandated job cuts at a popular national park in Utah is causing a crisis after 100 people saw their jobs rescinded. This led to a backup to get inside the park when only 1 or 2 people were left manning the booths. Chris Reed reports.
In my mind, it's a crisis.
That crisis, less staffing for the busy season in Zion. 100 people were offered seasonal jobs, but now all those offers have been rescinded. A cut in the last few days by the Trump administration has reduced the park's manpower. Even though it's President's Day, this is normally the off-season for Zion National Park, maybe 1 or 2 cars backed up to get in. But that's obviously not the case here today. The reason why there is a backup is because there's only 1 or 2 people manning the booths to enter the park.
It really affects Springdale a lot because even on a not so busy day, we get backups through town that makes it impossible for people who live along the route to the park to get home.
Barbara Bruno is the mayor of Springdale, a town of about 600 people just outside the south entrance to Zion National Park. Seasonable employees and other hires normally double the park's workforce for the busy season. This year, the park will get by with a smaller staff than they had in the winter.
And if it's the employees that are gone, I'm not sure how the park could stay open. It would be chaos in there.
Last year, Zion had 90% more visitors than 10 years ago, with 11% less staff.
I don't believe that this park was overstaffed. In fact, it's been understaffed.
The mayor and Zion's superintendent say this main priority is to be visitor and employee safety as well as parking. The park's shuttle won't be affected as they're with an outside contractor. Victor Carasso, visiting from Los Angeles with his kids, was going car to car in the queue leading into the park, trying to sell his day pass. He and his kids had less use for it after many services were closed up.
We literally had an experience for like 10 options. We only did like 4. I mean, you can still have a good time, especially that bridge, but other than that, you're cutting it short.
Mayor Bruno said visitors will still come, but she wonders if the experience will be the same.
I mean, the park needed more funding anyway. There's a lot of deferred maintenance that hasn't been done. It's the second most visited park in the country, and if that's not worth preserving and throwing some money out, I'm not sure what is.
From Zion National Park, Chris Reed, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Thanks, Chris. We sent our reporter Christian Gonzalez out onto campus to ask students what they think of the recent job cuts to the National Park Service.
I think it's super sad. I think having people protect our parks and our nature is super important, and so having job cuts and not funding such an important part of our society is a huge bummer.
I feel like that is very unfair. There's a lot of people that probably needed that job, and a lot of people that's probably going to have a lot of financial cuts because of it. I think that maybe they should give them their jobs back.
Glad I'm not working there. Glad I don't work there.
I feel terrible about the job cuts happening in the National Park Service. That's tragic.
Thanks, Christian. Further job cuts have the potential to affect national parks across the country. Peruvian fans of Shakira are already lining up outside the stadium where she'll perform Monday night. The Colombian star was scheduled to perform Sunday, but the show was suspended after the singer-songwriter was admitted to the hospital for an abdominal complication. Shakira launched her Las Mujeres Ya No Lloran tour last week in Brazil. She is scheduled to perform in the United States this summer. And while we're on the topic of celebrities, it's time to go to Lamont Lugin with entertainment news.
Thanks, Evan. Mindy Kaling received her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on February 18th. Kaling is known for her role as the boy-crazy Kelly Kapoor on NBC's hit show The Office. She also created several shows, including The Sex Lives of College Girls. The actress was joined by her former co-star, BJ Novak, as she accepted the honor. Novak is the godfather of Kaling's 3 children, ages 7, 4, and 1 years old. Rapper A$AP Rocky was found not guilty on February 18th of 2 felony counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm. The case stemmed from a 2021 incident between the hip-hop artist and a former friend. A$AP Rocky, whose legal name is Rakeem Myers, had argued that the weapon was a prop gun and only fired blanks. He claimed his former friend, known as A$AP Rocky, was using the lawsuit to get money. Myers, a longtime partner of the singer and businesswoman Rihanna, didn't testify at the trial, but expressed her appreciation to the jury after the verdict was reached. Rihanna was a common fixture at the courthouse throughout the trial. The couple shared 2 young sons. We sent our reporter Alan Sampson around campus to ask some students about what they thought of this incident.
We've had way too much going on with shooters, and in light of that whole context, I can see how it would cause pandemonium. I think it was probably bad judgment.
I don't believe guns should be used as props. I don't agree that A$AP Rocky.
You got a president that hurt many people with the actions that he did. So at any rate, I don't think it's fair that he actually get charged.
Thank you, Alan. And everyone, please be safe and don't play with guns, even the fake ones. And that's all with entertainment news. I'm Lamont Lugin. Now back to you.
Thanks, Lamont. President Donald Trump is floating the idea to give American taxpayers a cut of the money from what he claims Doge is saving the government. Trump says hundreds of billions of dollars are being saved, while Doge claims it's actually $55 billion. But when you dig into their so-called wall of receipts, the numbers don't quite seem to add up. Tom Foreman has the report.
And also, could you mention some of
the White House is rolling out its wall of receipts on the Doge website, claiming an estimated $55 billion taxpayer dollars rescued through fraud detection, workforce reductions, regulatory savings, and more.
Not like a little bit, billions, tens of billions of dollars. It could be close to $1 trillion that we're going to find.
Hold on. A closer look shows big problems. For example, Doge claimed axing a single immigration and customs contract saved $8 billion. Turns out that contract was worth a maximum of $8 million. And that was just a theoretical ceiling for the deal. Less than half that amount was actually slated to be spent. Doge corrected that error, but a CNN review of the more than 1,100 contracts listed on the Doge site found about 2/3 made similar inflated claims. And while this alleged outrage dug up by Doge grabbed headlines,
there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza. That is a preposterous waste of taxpayer money.
That proved to be dead wrong, as Doge boss Elon Musk admitted.
Some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected.
Still, even with the receipts not all adding up, Doge keeps filing reports of alleged widespread waste in aid to foreign countries, deals tied to diversity programs, and millions of dead people collecting Social Security.
And we've got people in there that are 150 years old.
Analysts say that most likely reflects Doge's misunderstanding of Social Security data, and a former federal official calls the notion laughably false.
There's no idea what he's talking about. There is not like a zombie apocalypse of people, cadavers running around with Social Security checks coming out of their pockets.
Thanks, Tom. The Doge number of $55 billion in savings so far would still represent a long way to go. That will represent 5.5% of the $1 trillion the Musk Doge team says it can save. At least 700 employees from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have been fired since February 14th. Firings have been happening at several federal agencies, including the Food and Drug Administration and the National Institutes of Health. According to a source, the cuts include training programs at the CDC. The Epidemic Intelligence Service appears to have been spared for now. Now it's time for sports news with Jasmine Bester.
Thanks, Evan. Coaches and players in Colorado Springs got their first look at new helmets being donated by an NFL team. The Denver Broncos Foundation is giving free, top-of-the-line gear to local high school teams. Jared Dean has more.
to be able to come in and give them the top of the line gear that maybe we don't always have the access to for our athletes here at Mitchell High School. So I know it's something huge for our community.
Coaches and players from across the Pikes Peak region got their first look at new helmets they will be getting from the Denver Broncos Foundation for free, something players like Ryland Hawley appreciate.
During last season I had a few head injuries, and now that we have better helmets, I'm hoping to see less of that. Definitely bring some reassurance to the sport.
The helmets are each one of a kind, designed with players' safety in mind. Each helmet will be fitted to the player's head to ensure fit. Rydell says the helmets do not use air as a layer of protection, which increases the padding and decreases the impact on the players.
That's a risk, that's out there is concussions and all this technology coming out about CTE and stuff. So we're really trying to protect the kids, and I think this is a huge step forward with that.
The Broncos say the helmets also come with technology to help coaches track performance and head impact.
I hope that those that are learning about the project understand the statewide scope of it. This is the first time that the foundation has been able to do something reaching every single corner of the state and impacting this many students at one time.
Thanks, Jared. Schools will start fitting their players with the helmets later this semester. The helmets will be distributed late spring or early summer. There was a close call for a snowmobiler that became buried by a sudden avalanche and is still seen and rescued in New Haven. Jeremy Roth has the story.
Harrowing video shows the moment a trapped snowmobiler resurfaces after being completely buried by an avalanche in Colorado. Video was shared by Department of Transportation officials of a natural avalanche that threatened roadways in the Vail Pass area. At nearly the same time, KUSA reports rescue officials were called to the area after reports that a snowmobiler had been buried by an avalanche. The searchers arrived and spotted an orange emergency airbag in the snow.
Sure enough, it was an airbag and there was a pack attached to it, and the guy was there. Dug down a few more feet. The guy could hear us. He told us he was okay, and we proceeded to dig him out.
Summit County Deputy Dave Wandell says the snowmobiler had been buried under 3 to 4 feet of snow for over an hour, but had been protected by his helmet and, after some feverish digging, was able to move freely as he emerged from the dense snow. He was transported for treatment and, aside from some mild hypothermia, escaped this incredible incident relatively unscathed. Another snowy rescue in Connecticut was nowhere near as intense, but was definitely way cuter, as a baby seal was spotted in the snowy streets of New Haven. It had reportedly wandered in from the beach with a possible injured flipper and was turned over to a local aquarium for treatment, but not before a responding cop fell head over heels, for reals, for the seal.
You okay? Hi. Hi. Hello.
What is it about super cute animals that makes us talk like this? I don't know, but they sure do. For take a look at this.
Oh, you are so precious.
I'm Jeremy Roth.
Thanks, Jeremy. The seal is safe and sound, and the snowmobiler who was dug from the deep, dense snow by rescuers say his gear helped save his life. That's all for this week's Look at Sports News. I'm Jasmine Bester. Now back to you, Evan.
Thanks, Jasmine. Abortion access in Missouri is now legal and available after a state judge's ruling. The judge threw out a licensing requirement that made it difficult for clinics to offer abortion services. The judge ruled that the requirement was discriminatory after Planned Parenthood sued to get the requirement removed. Last November, Missouri voters narrowly approved a measure to legalize abortion up to 24 weeks of pregnancy. Anti-abortion advocates protested the ruling outside of at least one abortion clinic. Though abortion access is restored in Missouri, a bench trial is set for next year between Planned Parenthood and the state. The case could determine whether to keep or replace abortion laws already on the books. Recent studies have found that getting out in nature will significantly reduce mental and physical stress. Chabot reporter Bruce Malloy has come up with a perfect plan to get out in nature and relieve the stress and anxiety of the new year.
A Cornell study found that students could significantly reduce their physical and mental stress by spending as little as 10 minutes in a natural environment. Hi, I'm Bruce Malloy, KCTH News, Chabot College.
If you need to relieve stress, you go for a hike. Luckily, in the hills overlooking Hayward, there's a perfect trail, the Ukraina Trail. It's a popular trail that offers a relaxing hike while learning about Hayward's history. During your hike, you may see a red-tailed hawk, woodpeckers, coyote, squirrels, and maybe even a mule deer. Keep your eye out for snakes. As for fauna, you'll see everything from Monterey pine to silverbush lupine. To get to the trail, park just east of Stonebrae Elementary School at 28761 Hayward Boulevard. Then head south to the trailhead. The loop trail is 3.2 miles and is considered a moderate hike. You can find the map on All Trails app or website. Don't forget to bring water.
Do you find that hiking in a natural environment helps you relieve stress?
Yes. Main reason is like we are always connected with nature. We are breathing in and out.
The trail is on the site of Agapius and Albine Honcharenko's 80-acre homestead. Originally from Kiev, they homesteaded in the Hayward Hills in 1873. Agapius was a political activist and an agriculturalist. They were both editors of the California Horticulturalist magazine. After the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, they opened their home to refugees. The Honcharenkos are still on site, as they were buried here in 1916.
To relieve your stress in 2025, visit the Honcharenko homestead. Enjoy a 3.2-mile hike in the hills overlooking Hayward. I'm Bruce Malloy, KCTH News, Chabot College.
Thanks, Bruce. That report on local hiking will teach us about some of Hayward's history. President Trump approved a major disaster declaration for Kentucky following an initial emergency declaration last week. It comes in the wake of deadly flooding amid freezing temperatures earlier this month. The president's action will make federal funding available for people in impacted areas. The assistance can include grants for temporary housing and other programs to help people and businesses recover. Federal funding will also be made available to the state and local governments and certain nonprofit organizations as well. Now it's time for this week's Top 5 with Greg Driscoll.
Thanks, Evan. Hi, I'm Greg Driscoll, and these are my top 5 sneaker brands. At number 5 is the Converse All-Star, otherwise known as the Chuck Taylor. This legendary shoe was known for its sleekness and versatility in the 50s to now. It is still known as one of the world's most popular footwear. In at number 4 is the Nike Cortez. This shoe is quite popular in the hip-hop community and seen in movies like Boys in the Hood and Straight Outta Compton. This shoe feels like you're walking on a sturdy foam. Nice shoe. In at number 3 is Adidas. These shoes were made popular by the iconic rap group Run DMC because of the hit song My Adidas. This brand is also very popular in pro soccer, and it's a comfortable shoe. In at number 2 is Puma. This shoe is very popular to the person who just wants to hang out and not worry about the cost of this classic brand. It's also very useful on the basketball court and baseball diamond. That is why I like it. And finally, my number 1 shoe is none other than the Air Jordan. This shoe and brand has been going strong since the 80s. It was made popular by an athlete who was considered to be one of the best to play the game of basketball. And it's now used just about in every sport around the world. It's a must-have with the iconic Jumpman symbol, Jordan rules. That's all for this week's Top 5. I'm Greg Driscoll. Now back to you, Evan.
Thanks, Greg. Time for a snack, Chocoholics. February 25th is National Chocolate-Covered Nut Day, which means you just missed it by only a little bit. Melting chocolate over nuts became mainstream in 1925 with Goober's candies. Back then, the word goober was slang for peanut. Today, M&M's peanuts are probably the best-known candies of this type. Those came out in 1954 and got colorful shells 6 years later in 1960. Dark chocolate has antioxidants and nuts have healthy fats, so chocolate-covered nuts could even have some nutritional value. Astronomers say they've spotted a dazzling light show from the Milky Way's black hole. The astronomers spotted the activity using the James Webb Space Telescope. Researchers say they saw a rapid-fire display that included short flashes and longer, blindingly bright flares of light on a daily basis. A study describing the findings appeared earlier this week in the astrophysical journal Letters. Scientists say while black holes are invisible, the flares spotted were unleashed by a swirling disk of hot gas and dust. Astronomers believe the flares are coming from the inner edge of the black hole, just beyond the black hole's horizon. They say these observations can explain how black holes behave and the other ways that they feed on their surroundings. That's all for Chabot News this week. Thanks to all the students and staff in the Mass Communications Department here at Chabot College for making this production possible. You can watch us anytime online at youtube.com/ChabotTV. Stay tuned to KCTH Channel 27 on Comcast for more Chabot TV.